Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of your Los Angeles City Council. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd day of February in the year 2026. Public comment for this morning's meeting will be taken in person in this council chamber. Madam Clerk, let's begin our proceedings by calling the roll.
Blumenfield, Harris, Dawson, Hernandez, Hutt, Gerardo, Lee, McCosker, Nazarian, Padilla, Park, Price, Rahman, Rodriguez, Soto Martinez, Yaroslavsky. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay. My name is Mark Smith. I lost my home in the fire, and I'll be displaced for another 3 years. I'm asking you to approve the fee waiver for all buildings destroyed by the fire. You've heard our talking points, so I'd like to just share some experiences. In my 71 years, I've witnessed the Bel Air fires, the Baldwin Hills Dam collapse, the 65 and 92 riots, and I've lived through the earthquakes of 71, 94, and the 70 Clampett fire that burned from Newhall down to Malibu. In short, disaster can strike anytime, anywhere, and in many cases, districts will require city support. When that time comes, your constituents will expect the same assistance that we're asking for in our time of need. This isn't about revenue to the city. This is about humanity, equity, and the opportunity to do what you know is ethically and morally right. We are all in this together. We are one city. Please pass this extremely important initiative. And thank you, in particular to Tracy, for your heroic support in getting us to this point. Thank you.
Recently, the Council approved a motion requiring that ex parte communications with the Charter Reform Commission be disclosed. Unfortunately, this won't solve the problem, which is that these communications are still a serial meeting violation of the Brown Act. Disclosing them won't change that. The rule might mitigate truly unavoidable violations, like if someone sitting near you at a restaurant starts talking loudly about city business, but they remain violations. The fact that you haven't been hauled into criminal court for this does not mean you are getting good advice from the city attorney. It means the district attorney is not doing their job. The DA should have addressed this sort of violation a long time ago, but as you well know, the district attorney's office is just plain bent. They simply disregard vastly more depraved crimes like perjured reports by medical examiners. You might consider lifting a finger to protect Los Angeles residents. Write the governor.
Good morning, council members. My name is Bart Young. I'm here today as a resident of Pacific Palisades, which I lost to the fire last January. That home represented 29 years of hard work, sacrifice, everything I built for my future. It was paid for, it was my security, and in a single day, it was gone. Like many fire survivors, I'm now trying to rebuild, but I'm facing financial reality that feels impossible. My insurance will only cover half of the costs. The city, and this is LADBS, cannot tell me what it's really going to cost for all the permits and fees, but it can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yet I have to spend money on geological studies, architectural plans, just to get an idea of what it's going to cost. I'm living on Social Security. I've lost everything. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for something fair and with some compassion. Executive order waives those fees and permits. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dear City Council members, my name is Daniel Sosa. I own and operate 4 licensed dispensaries in the city. Without immediate action to adjust the city's cannabis policies, particularly those related to taxation and illegal enforcement, the licensed cannabis market will collapse. The licensed cannabis market will collapse. Those are not my words. Those are words written in bold in the Cannabis Regulation Commission's urgent policy recommendations to City Council from 7 months ago in July. City Council members, you have the power to save our industry. We only need one thing, and that is a reduction in taxes. Licensed cannabis dispensaries are currently subject to a 10% tax rate. This is an outrageous rate. City Council has the explicit authority to lower the cannabis taxes under Measure M. You are not taxing big corporations these rates. Big retail corporations pay 0.1 tax rate in the city. Gun sales, alcohol sales, tobacco sales are taxed at 0.1%. But you are taxing social equity applicants, people who had to be low income to qualify for a license, at 100 times that rate. Not double, not 10 times, 100 times the rate. If Ralph's and Starbucks grosses $1 million in sales, they owe $1,000 in taxes. If my business grosses $1 million in sales, I owe $100,000 in taxes. This industry needs a lot of changes, but talking about anything other than tax reduction, it's a distraction.
Next speaker.
Good morning, President Harris Dawson and all of our council members. We greatly appreciate you putting this on the agenda today. This community, Pacific Palisades, desperately needs the fee permit waivers, and we are so happy that today you've included our condos, apartments, and mobile homes, because that is effectively our affordable housing. As you know well, a natural disaster of this type could happen in any one of your districts. In fact, we've done a mapping of the high earthquake-prone areas in virtually every district. High fire severity zones, 13 out of 15. And we are all one Angelenos and greatly appreciate you making sure that our permit fees can be waived. We lost our house of 30 years. We bought it in 1996, very low price. My neighbor, who's second to speak after me, is an electrician. We are not all rich movie stars. We were relegated to California Fair Plan, and this is very meaningful. Thank you.
My name is Kim Feeder, and I'm currently the board president for the Castellamare Homeowners Association. April 2026 marks 35 years that I would have been in my home. I have to say that if I were to try and buy now, I could not afford my own home. There are a number of people in that position, more so, that cannot afford to rebuild. Fees have to be waived for not only those up to 110% for residents, single family, but also for commercial and multi-unit complexes. In the mobile home parks, people are reliant on still the decisions to be made. I know many personally that live around me that lost their homes that are not yet rebuilding because they cannot afford, because of being uninsured due to being canceled. They cannot afford right now to rebuild, and the fees only press harder that they cannot afford to rebuild.
My name is Tom Doran. I've been a resident up in the Palisades for 40 years. Nearly 13 months ago, after the devastating Palisades fire, January 25, destroyed thousands of homes. Many of us are still waiting for the full relief we were promised by Mayor Bass. Her executive order suspended collection of the fees, but did not waive them. Survivors are in limbo, facing massive costs on top of irreplaceable losses, insurance shortfalls, and emotional trauma. Waiving these fees isn't charity, it's justice. Other areas like LA County and Malibu have already approved waivers and refunds to owner-occupied rebuilds. Please pass this and let us get our lives going. Thank you.
The motion is to have a 125,000.000, which is the comma, not a dash, with Blumenfield, and I stay in Blumenfield District, and I don't know if this is against Yaroslavsky. Is
Go
it
ahead.
Blumenfield and Yaroslavsky? This is a motion, Yaroslavsky and Blumenfield. Is Yaroslavsky of 3rd District?
So,
That's a question.
so this isn't, unfortunately, this isn't an opportunity for a back and forth, but you can continue your public comment if you would like. Go ahead.
Yaroslavsky is not 3rd District, and I do not agree with them being impaired. I do know that the 125 is an inaccurate number, and they only need $310,000. $310,000, not $310,000, not $310 million, not $310 beyond. They need $310 for a 15-foot by 5-foot space. 125 means they're merging territories and fugitive status. That's all. Thank you.
My name is Paul Nagel, and I'm a once and future resident of Pacific Palisades. The setting and managing of the city budget is a process that inevitably involves a degree of speculation and projection. Such projections are understandably inexact, and the true numbers are almost always disappointing. Costs are higher, revenues are lower. An exception to this is the permit fee waiver. Currently, over 120 properties are for sale in the Palisades, and the new owners will not be eligible for waivers. This is on top of the 300 properties already sold. This number will steadily and significantly grow over the next 2 years. Thus, the GAO report on the fiscal impact of the city of the waivers actually overestimates these revenue losses, which will, week by week, continue to go down. This, and for all the other reasons previously heard, I urge support of item 30.
Good morning. My name is James Finney-Conlon, and I'm here on behalf of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce to proudly support item 11, which would create exemptions for zoning and planning requirements as we get ready for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. This is very important to make sure that we are ready for a once-in-a-generation economic event and really a catalyst economically for the region. I really hope I can count on your support. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Which items would you like
Hello?
to speak to?
You know, the wife of Joseph in Egypt, her name is Ainu, Japanese name, Ainu people. And his son, Manasseh, means forget it, you know what happened. Manatu in Tongan means to remember. Now, let me tell you how it's related to all of us in here, relate to everybody. Let me tell you. Teotihuacan name, Teot, O-T, I-H-U-A-C-A, Teotihuaca. O-T-U-A, God in Tongan. I-H-U-A, Ihuaca, right? That's Jesus. The Jewish people call him Yeshua. No E-S. It's just supposed to be Y-H-U-A for the Jewish.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker. So, Speaker, we have to move on to the other speakers, so your time has expired. If you could please exit the podium, thank you.
This is my 4th time here in the chamber. I'm a lifetime Angelino. I hope to not have to come back again. You and me both. I'm sure you're tired of seeing me and hearing me say the same thing. That I'm here to ask you to please vote yes on the Budget and Finance Committee's recommendation of option 3 to waive plan and permit fee waivers for all structures damaged in the Palisades fire. I've told you before about how my own condo building is composed of senior citizens on a fixed budget. Okay, condos, townhomes, and apartments, they have the most vulnerable community members, retirees, underinsured, those with limited access to credit. When this housing is gone, it is gone permanently. By passing plan and permit fee waivers, you are not subsidizing one neighborhood. You're preventing displacement from cascading across the city's housing system and relieving pressure on already scarce housing citywide. As the CAO report confirms, passing plan and permit fees is going to speed recovery, restore the tax base, support jobs, and bring residents and businesses back sooner. It is the right thing to do. We are all Angelinos, and we are not just CD11. And what happened to us can happen to your district. And as Bob Blumenfeld said a year ago, We have to fundamentally change the way we do things in this city so that we can grow back and we build back in a strong way. And one way you can do that to start is by passing this ordinance to waive plan and permit fee waivers. You can also help set up a CRD or disaster recovery district, and you can also make sure that Palisadians aren't dinged by the mansion tax when they're just trying to get their lives back together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, council members. My name is Vanessa Bautista. I am here on behalf of Best Friends Animal Society to share a snapshot of the impact we did in the city of LA in 2025. This past year, Best Friends supported the life savings of more than 4,400 dogs and cats, including nearly 3,000 animals pulled from LA Animal Services shelters. Through partnerships with LA Animal Services and local rescues, we helped facilitate 3,500 adoptions and over 5,000 foster placements. During the fires, our role expanded even further. We helped move over 2,300 pets to safety. These numbers reflect more than statistics, that they represent the lives saved through collaboration. Best Friends remains committed to supporting LA Animal Services and the City of LA as we work together towards a truly no-kill city. Thank you for your continued partnership and leadership.
I'm here to speak on the tax issue around the cannabis industry. The cannabis industry is a proven beneficial industry for society and plays a legitimate role in California's healthcare and economy. Excessive state and local cannabis taxes push consumers out of the legal market, hurting compliant businesses. The solution is simple. We need to lower taxes to support legal operators and make legalization work as we deserve. Lower the taxes.
Good morning. My name is Tiffany Wright. I have worked in the cannabis industry for nearly 18 years. I offer a unique perspective of having been in this business both before and after adult use legalization. I can say that before adult use legalization, it was a very good business. It provided a valuable service, valuable medicine. It helped a lot of people. Some of the businesses that I've helped represent have given away over $1 million of completely free medicine. So their heart is in the right place. However, after legalization, there was instituted an oppressive taxation system whereby cannabis dispensaries are charging customers the same amounts as they always have because people are not necessarily willing to pay more, but we have to remit 40% of our revenue to tax, including 10% to the city of LA, which is unsustainable for any business, much less a business that provides medicine. Medicine is not typically taxed at an extra 40%.
General public comment?
For the public comment, I'd like to say that the only pathway forward to prevent the Los Angeles City Council and DCR from being complicit in a system of systematic financial abuse is to immediately amend the municipal code and lower the tax rate. I recommend 1 or 2%, which would be consistent with what other cities with programs have done that has been successful and viable. 10% is a systematic financial abuse that the city will be complicit in. Any other action that does not include lowering the taxation would make this council complicit, and I don't believe that it wishes to be. I believe that your hearts and minds are in the right place, and I urge you to take corrective action immediately and lower the cannabis tax rate to no more than 1% for medical and 2% for adult use. Thank you.
Thank you, council members, for your time. My name is Joel Frederico. On 12/43, January 8th, my home was 69 degrees. 15 minutes later, my internet went offline and my son's temperature sensor registered 80 degrees. I listened as our fire alarm, my burglar alarm went off, thinking that my house was being robbed because that was preferable to my house burning down. I apologize. I joined my board. I pitched in, I came on, I did my best. I'm here not just for my family, but for my community. We have members who are on fixed incomes, who don't have insurance, who don't have enough insurance. They're trying to get by, and our budget to rebuild is tight, and our deadlines are close. We're asking for your help. We work together as neighbors, council members. We all have neighbors, we all help each other. We lend, we borrow.
General public comment?
We work together, and when we need help, we come and we ask. We are asking now for your help to meet our budgets, to rebuild, to bring back what we lost, to bring back my son's bedroom, my house, to bring back my neighbors together. And we support option 3. The Budget and Finance Committee came through. Tracy Park has worked for us so hard. And now we are coming to you asking for your help, for the little bit that you can do. Every little bit helps. I am trying to bring back my community. I'm trying to protect housing for the people who are retired, who are infirm. And I ask humbly for your help. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to my story.
Good morning, Council. My name is Harris Smith. We used to live at 957 Hartsel and the Alphabet Streets. I support all that's been said before me and at the 2 prior meetings, but I'd like to focus on a different issue. I have been a CPA for 49 years. I understand return on investment. And unless and until we get people back in the community, we will not have the businesses. Gelson's has said they need 10,000 people before they'll reopen. The community had 25,000 people before the fire. It is a shadow of that now. So I understand return on investment. If we get people back, if we can get these fees waived, that's a chunk of money, because while we're possibly underinsured, insured, we're still fighting with the insurance companies.
General public comment?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Speaker?
Dear Heather Hunt, I don't think you are a good leader. And I don't believe you care about the people, but only care about receiving your paycheck and paying politics. You have a member on your team named Terrence Gomez, who you selected to handle police matters. And are you aware, Heather, that the man that you selected made comments to me that he has to believe everything that the police tells him? How is this person supposed to help anyone, especially a person of color, if he's going to believe everything that the police tells him, even if it's a lie? I lived at the address 229 South Mariposa Avenue in Koreatown for months, and I was constantly being harassed by the on-site property manager, the owner of the building, and I had my power turned off and my unit burglarized by the property manager, and the Olympic Police Station did nothing. And worst of all,
So, Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker.
I echo the comments of the Palisadians that have spoken ahead of me, and I trust that the Budget Committee has shown you the numbers of how much the City of Los Angeles has lost financially because of the loss of the Palisades tax base. Over time, it would put the city in a much better position financially if you made it as easy as possible for us to rebuild. That would mean choosing to waive our permit fees. It would be short-term pain for long-term gain, and that would go both ways to benefit the City of Los Angeles and our sweet hometown of Pacific Palisades.
Okay. All right, let's begin. Okay, I want to talk about the ones about banners and parades. Like, I love banners, I love parades, but I don't understand why we can't get civic groups to pay for this stuff, because you guys there's 2 of them in there beyond 15. One's about the parade and one's about a banner. It's there, sir. But the thing is, okay, we need sidewalks, okay? We need streets. We're about to have the Olympics. And you're about to trying to pass laws where if an old person falls in a nursing home, that they're going to charge them a fine for falling and needing fire department rescue. So if you're that desperate for money, why are we paying for banners and parades? Like, have the civic groups, whatever civic groups to come put that money forward. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to bet money that Smoke and Scan will agree with me that you don't need to be spending this ridiculous amount of money on things that are important maybe to a city for joy and celebration. It's no offense to that, the people celebrating, but at the same time, you're so broke, you're about to fine old people that fall, like, seriously. Okay, the other one is for civil service. and I think hopefully I'm going to see later if Smoke and Scan agrees with this too, that, you know, if you're trying to take away an exemption and get people off where they don't have to pass through a civil service, that means y'all can just hire all your cronies. I went through that once. I ended up getting the job because I was civil service, and the cronies didn't get the job. Of course, you know, there was hell to be paid because they didn't like the fact that their cronies didn't get the jobs, but I wanted the job and I got it because I took the civil service, and I was a neutral person. I wasn't bought and paid for by whatever politicos that wanted their cronies in. So it's very important to have the civil service. Okay, and then the one about the school, you're just, you know, putting all this money for a school, and schools are important, but you don't name the school. I don't see the school's name, and I just want to make sure that you're not secretly trying to build Adelphi Academies. That's owned by Scientology that promotes everything through Scientology tech, which means it will ruin these students for the rest of their lives, okay, because of the corrupt teaching. So please make sure you're not trying to sneak in any kind of Scientology school. As much as I know Kirsten Peterson, Kendrick Moxon, Linda Hamill Peters
So you're welcome
would
to speak
love
to
you
this
to
during
do that.
general, but I need you to connect it more tightly to the item.
Oh, okay, to number one, because you don't name it. You know, you should have in the agenda the name of the school. So I can only assume that it's going to be Adelphi Academy because
Okay,
you guys like to
at
sneak
this
in
point,
Scientology.
It's repetitive, so I need you to move on. Go ahead.
Okay, I can do that. And as far as, like I said, I don't know, I guess we can just say how to smoke and scan one more time before we turn into
General public comment. Go ahead, you have 1 minute.
Okay, I am here to ask Mr. Hugo, okay, my friend Laura FM, she needs help with housing help, because we've come here repeatedly telling you that Scientology they lost her job. They were harassing her employer and her so much that she lost her job because they didn't want the harassment. Bob, I'm talking to you too, okay? And Mr. Hugo, this is your district. I need somebody, one of your people, to help connect her to services today, like right now today, because you guys are the ones allowing Scientology to get people to lose their jobs, and she's about to become unhoused. Thanks to them, you know, she had this job for 15 years, but because of Scientology harassing her, she doesn't have the job. And unemployment does not cover the rent that it costs here. Okay, so Mr. Hugo, if you could please listen and send one of your workers right here to Miss Laura FM to help her. If he can't ignore me or look at me, can somebody else help Miss Laura FM? Since you guys are allowing Scientology to do this, do you understand?
My name is Carol Ross. I've lived in the Palisades since I was 5 years old, and went away, of course, to school and all, but was able to come back 40 years ago and buy a home and raise my children in the Palisades. Subsequently, my older daughter and the children lived in a rental house down the street, and my younger daughter and her husband lived in a condo. On January 7th, we all lost our homes. I want to emphasize that there are so many people like us who have been in the Palisades for a really, really long time. And when we purchased our homes, it was a minuscule amount of money. And now we're faced with having to rebuild 4 or 5 times the amount we paid to begin with, and underinsured, of course. We live in the flatlands of Marquez, no fire danger whatsoever. We always said our house would never burn unless the entire Palisades burned. We have received lots of support from Tracy Park. We've received support from FEMA, from the SBA loans. Everything has made such a difference. Friends, neighbors, the emotional support we've received. But the financial support of waiving these fees could have such a huge impact on that balancing bar of whether or not one can make it back into the Palisades. And emotionally to know that Los Angeles supports us the way we have always supported Los Angeles. Thank you so much for considering this.
You've been here a few times, and it's tough to be here and to say the same thing again and again, and to find that lots of people aren't listening. And we really feel that we need to be heard, and we're not really sensing that at City Council. And that's why people keep coming and saying the same things. The community that I come from and that I've lived in for almost 30 years, in which we raised our child, we lost everything. I only have one thing from my parents, which I'm wearing today. And essentially 56 weeks ago now, people were in traffic jams and running for their life. It feels like it's time for the City Council to please pass the recommendations for the fee waivers that have been proposed to you, rather than keep going back and forth. We really need the help. Every week that passes, there are people that are losing hope and giving up on the fact that they can come back, and we want to encourage that. All the people, whether renters who want to come back to rental homes, people in condos, people in single-family homes, others, we really need the mobile home parks to be also put back. And the only way a lot of these people can do it and can afford to keep building is to go on their hope and hope that if they get the fee waivers and they can find the money to put together to rebuild, that they will be able to rebuild and they will be able to find insurance, because a lot of us are just planning and moving forward without even knowing that we will have insurance. So we need your help. It helps the entire city to have our community rebuilt, particularly as the Olympics are coming. It's a tourist destination. Right now, all people are seeing is devastation and very few houses being rebuilt. We want to change that. We want to put back into the economy. We want to start paying our taxes as we should be, but we need our houses to be able to do that. We implore you to please listen to us and to treat us as you would your own districts. Thank you so much to Tracy Park and to the other members of the community and council that have supported us. Thank you.
But you have 1 minute for the other item you mentioned and 1 minute for general. Go ahead.
Anything that's related to homelessness, let's add that, because I know there are multiple items for homelessness, related to homelessness. So let's add that instead of 2. Okay? All right, so first off, I want to talk about the homelessness problem we have. All right, Karen Bass is on TV last night touting her Inside Safe program. Well, let's actually look at that program. You look at it, we have spent $323 million on the program and permanently housed just 1,200 people.
So, Speaker, I'm looking, can we pause this? Well, Speaker, I'm looking at the agenda. You can speak to this during general if you'd like, but I need you to speak to the agenda items first.
Okay, so you know what? We're going to go to 23 in public comment. Does that work?
Go ahead. You can continue speaking at 23.
Let's go to 23. Let's talk about public safety. There is a cop or an ex-cop who raped a woman, LAPD, raped a woman, and he raped her by, he
Speaker,
showed up
this
at a
has
call.
nothing to do with item 23. So I'm going to move you to general public comment. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yes, let's talk about how all of you know about a cop that committed rape against a woman, and you guys are trying to cover it up. All of you know about it. His name is Gabriel Spadas. He put a woman on a 5150 hold. As soon as she got out, he called her up, came over to her house, fisted her, had anal sex with her, and tried to make her have sex with a dog. You know about it. I have the text messages to show it. And no one says anything about it. This cop committed rape, and there are more victims. There are 6 more that have come forward, and nobody says anything about it. Why is this guy not being prosecuted? How can you all sit here and know this cop was out there doing this and not say anything? I think all of you are disgusting for sitting by quietly. So how about that? Enjoy your day.
Harry Elliott, the item 2 on the agenda is about homelessness for elderly women, which I am.
Item number 2 is not open for public comment. Are there any other items you'd like to speak to, or just general?
General.
Okay, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay. Página 111 de Ron Johnson. Las armas de energía dirigida también puede imitar a cualquier síntoma de enfermedad. I need a
Page
translator.
111, Devon Johnson. Yeah, the directed energy guns can emit any type of.
Y nadie sospecha que sus aflicciones vienen de algo artificial.
The afflictions come from something that is artificial.
Ya leí antes de esto. Okay. Ahora cambio a Renee Pittman, veterana, Palmdale.
Renee Pittman. I'm going now to Renee Pittman, a veteran from Palmdale.
Aunque ella es víctima de servicios de inteligencia, todos tienen emo individual.
Even though she's a victim of intelligence services, everybody has MO.
Individual. Les quiero leer sus libros. Hay 7 libros de ella. Ella todavía vive en Palmdale. Gracias.
I want to read all the 7 books that she has. She is still living in Palmdale. Thank you.
Hi, board. Hello, everybody. I'm here again to speak on behalf of the children and ex-Scientologists that have been tortured and abused and molested in any way and all the ways in the cult of Scientology. So if you can all take a second and just make a point in your mind this week to note that if there's a drug-free program or any Narconon or any of these BS front groups of Scientology that are literally not helping the homeless, not helping anybody, if you can be aware that you are not allowing on your position in the city for them to be infiltrating in whatever it is that you do. Hugo, I would really like help. I'm being completely fair gamed and attacked by Scientology. I'm unemployed now because of it, and now my unemployment cannot cover my rent, so yes, I too might be fucking homeless. It's not okay. This is Scientology harassment. Every single fucking week, we come here and we speak about this and nothing is being done. We ask you to please use the empty parking lots and the houses of the Scientology buildings for the homeless. You guys haven't done that. Now I'm getting attacked, fair gamed, and now I need help from the city. So this is unbelievable. Divorce yourselves from Scientology.
When you hire clowns, you get a circus. Item 1, typical of how this city is run into the ground by political favors to the Jewish community in Yaroslavsky, while all other communities languish in abject poverty and homelessness. This item is for $125 million for improvement to a Jewish educational facility in a luxury area of the city. $125 million for improvements to an already luxury campus for the wealthy of the Jewish community. Meanwhile, in contrast, sleazy Marquise Dawson is running a food desert in CD8 with the highest unemployment rate, the highest homelessness rate, and complete dismantling of the Black Communities Cultural Center with the help of dimwit Nithya Raman and Bob Genocide Bloomfield. I demand a no vote on this $125 million abuse of public funds when homelessness is still epidemic in Los Angeles. All other items on this agenda should receive a no vote if career criminals, indicted current prize poverty pimp Heather Hutt, sleazy Marquise Dawson are allowed to vote. Where is the $125 million education projects
Speaker,
to the
you've
Black
exhausted your 1
community?
minute on item 1. Please move on to
Item
another
1,
item.
okay, public comment. I'll just run into
Do you want to go to
here.
general? Okay.
Well, I'll kind of run into this, try to finish. I demand Sleazy D stop this thought police free speech violating crimes against the people. Since the Black community has zero representation from these poverty pimps, demand that all other available items on this corrupt agenda be reworded to include $125 million for upgrades to the Black community's private educational institutions. Also demand these items include a demand for resignation of the Black poverty pimps. General public comment, 30 seconds. Because these clowns bankrupt the city, giving $1 billion increase to LAPD, the clowns won't take the money back because LAPD makes tremendous campaign contributions to Sleazy Dawson, Monica Lewinsky Rodriguez, and racist Asian John Lee. $1 billion budget emergency, tens of thousands homeless epidemic emergency, $275 billion fire damage emergency. This is so ridiculous. Sleazy D, CD8 has the highest incarceration rate. Thanks. It's ridiculous.
Next speaker.
Good morning, council members. I want to talk about item 30 in the Palisades and asking the council members to waive the permit fees for all structures in Palisades. I want to talk about the money here. As I understand, the city in these calculations is focused mostly on the immediate loss of the revenue instead of focusing on the potential profit from the rebuild. If those 7,000 structures in Palisades get rebuilt with more than 110%, the estimated additional value of $3 billion of real estate would bring additional $30 million annually to the city. These $3 million will cover the loss from the waiver fees in 3 years. Please focus on the long-term benefits of bringing the community back and people back to their homes. Please vote for the waiver of permit fees for all structures. And Tracy Park, thank you very much for your continued support for the Palisades community.
I'd just like to ask, what happens to the Palisades when the city doesn't provide enough support? We currently have 179 houses under construction. We used to have 7,000 structures. Contrary to some of the stories swirling, there are no corporations trying to gobble up our land. Some of these lots have been sitting for sale for a year since the fire. So what happens when the few hundred people who can afford it finish rebuilding? What happens to the rest of the city? It becomes a burden to Los Angeles with dilapidated land and buildings, infrastructure issues, land destabilization, hillside landslides, rodent and wild animal infestations, crime, encampments. It's your fiduciary duty as custodians of the city's budget to look ahead and prevent massive future financial pressures by investing a much smaller amount now. Option 3 was the best of what was offered, but it's still very bare bones. The city administrator's report explicitly excludes transacted properties. That means that means people like me who had to leave our lot for reasons very outside of our control and sold for pennies on the dollar are now in massive debt and will not be included in this fee waiver. Between that and our unfair property tax assessments that are coming all of our way, even after we rebuild, we may not be able to stay. We have a neighbor who was told he cannot start rebuilding with approved plans until he repairs city sidewalk for $58,000. Another neighbor replacing a city fire hydrant for $34,000. Another had LADWP cut down a 100-year-old sycamore without notice, not for danger, but because of line of sight. We face big, expensive roadblocks every single day, and without more city support and investment, this land will never fully rebuild, and you will be asked for billions of dollars in the future, and instead of just broadening option 3 right now and allowing for more inclusive language so that it pertains to all residents, even if they were renting or transacted properties. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. I am a Palisadian. We've lived in the Palisades since 1970. My family lost 4 properties. My mother lost our house, our family home. I lost my home. My son lost his home, and we lost our rent stabilization, our RSO multifamily property that brought income to our whole family. So we are facing 4 properties to have to rebuild. Waiving the fee for the permits will help my family considerably. We have lots ahead of us, and this would just be one step in the long journey to recovery. My mom in her 80s, we don't know what we're going to do with her family home. She doesn't have the capacity to rebuild. My son in his mid-30s, he doesn't have the money to rebuild. I'm barely making it myself trying to rebuild. And so to rebuild our rent stabilization property, we very much need the fee waiver for that as well. Again, we are just a normal family in the Palisades, living there since the 70s. We're Angelinos. We're just like all of the people you represent. We desperately need this fee waiver for all of us, for single families, for multi-families, for the mobile home parks, for the condominium complexes, for the apartment buildings, for our commercial properties. We all need to go home. We all need this help from our fellow Angelinos. All of you have people just like me, just like my family in your community. We need your help. We're asking you to please pass the fee waiver that Tracy Park has worked for. Option 3 is the best for us, and it's the best for Los Angeles as a community. Thank you so much for your time.
My name is Farzad Abulfadi. I am the former owner of one of the multi-families in Pacific Palisades. With 3 other families, we lost our property in that area. And every day, I get a call from the tenants that I had, and they ask me, are we going to rebuild? And I'm here to request that the city come to help to the people who lost their properties in the disaster by waiving the fees. We used to pay $40,000 property tax every year and about $30,000 state and federal tax. Currently, we have no income and our property tax has reduced to about $15,000. The city, the state, and the federal are not getting benefit from the properties that we used to manage. I think it only makes sense.
General public comment?
It only makes sense that city helps us by waiving the fees. Thank you.
Trabajo en el subway aquí en Los Ángeles del Distrito 11.
My name is Celia Cruz, and I work at the subway here in District 11.
Before we restart the time, can we just have everybody speak up a little bit? It's a little hard to hear both the speaker and the interpreter. Thank you.
Antes de que continuemos, es un poco difícil escucharle a la oradora y al intérprete, si ambas pueden hablar un poquito más fuerte.
Okay. Mi nombre es Elizabeth Cruz. Trabajo en un subway aquí en el distrito de Los Ángeles 11.
My name is Elizabeth Cruz, and I worked on a subway here on the District 11 of LA.
¿Se imagina que su jefe les entrega el cheque de pago y les haga firmar al lugar de lo que quita?
The interpreter needs to clarify. Disculpe, ¿qué quiere decir en lugar de lo que quita?
Se imagina que su jefe les entrega el cheque de pago, les haga firmar y luego se lo quita.
Gracias. Can you imagine if your boss brings you a check, has you sign it, and then it takes it away from you?
Y eso es lo que me está pasando en Subway.
That is what is happening to me at Subway.
No me alcanza el dinero para cubrir mis gastos y tengo que educirme con mi tarjeta de crédito porque mi jefe me paga con cheques que no pueden depositar. Me pagan mucho después de la fecha y del pago o me reducen los horarios de trabajo sin previo.
I don't have enough money to cover my expenses. I have to use a credit card, and my boss gives me checks that I'm not able to deposit. He pays me at a later date, or he reduces my work hours.
Y por favor, apóyeme a la ordenanza de trabajadores justicia de los trabajadores de comida rápida, como yo no deberíamos tener que endeudarnos trabajadores para.
Speaker, your time has expired, but if we could get the last bit interpreted, please.
Ahora su tiempo se ha terminado, pero se va a interpretar la última parte de su mensaje. I'm asking you to please help us with the ordinance for us to get more justice on this. As fast food workers, we should not have debt because of this.
Good morning. So I saw there was a request from LAPD to fill this position. Could you just explain to me what this exempt position will be doing?
Yes. Good morning, President, City Council members. I'm Deputy Chief John Pinto from Human Resources Bureau on behalf of Chief Jim McDonald. The police administrator position will be responsible for developing and executing comprehensive integrated communication plans to achieve department objectives. This position will act as the department's executive advisor for strategic communications and report directly to the chief of police. The police administrator will ensure department consistency across all communications and develop comprehensive narratives that articulate the department's mission, vision, and impact across various channels. Additionally, this position will focus on building and optimizing internal communications as opposed to external to connect employees, reinforce department culture, and provide leadership with consistent and unifying talking points to community members. Key responsibilities will include collaborating with department stakeholders, building brand awareness, developing campaign recruitment messaging, and stay current with social and visual media trends to support senior lead and align with department strategy.
And why does the department feel like they need someone for this position? Is someone doing this work currently?
Currently, we have, as you're aware of, Councilmember, the PIO position, which is external, which sets up meetings, responds to critical incidents. When Chief McDonald wanted, part of his reorg was to provide a position for an internal communications director. So PIO, outward facing, deals with media, deals with requests, is on call for critical incidents. The ask is from Chief McDonald is that we as a department have an actual internal advisor that can work on the messaging for internally with our employees.
Okay, so this is only for internal.
Correct. Our PIO position is currently vacant, but this request for the last year has been asked for the importance of the internal communications, messaging, our leadership for our employees, both professional staff and sworn.
But many of the things that are in this letter talk about messaging and community engagement.
Correct.
So how does that work? If it's
I'm sorry, there is a point of that. Thank you for the correction. Part of that was the unified talking points for community engagement, but really working through our senior lead officers, making sure that we have one voice from the chief of police to our senior lead officers to our community members. So internal in the aspect of trying to make sure that we have one message, that it's not conflicting with things that we may hear on the media, but making sure that it's one message.
And has there been any internal conversations about how the messaging coming out of the LAPD in regards to all the raids that have been happening, immigration enforcement? There seems to be a lot of lack of confidence right now with LAPD, especially, with the mutual aid requests. We had the chief a few days ago saying he's not going to enforce the mask ban. The protests have been just, could be improved. Has there been any internal conversations about how we address that to the public?
Yes, there has been.
Would you like to share a little bit with us?
Certainly, I believe our chief has been very transparent with the media on, our department's stance on what's occurring with the ICE agents in the city of Los Angeles. I think the importance of this strategic communications position is that it will help unify internally our messaging, so when our officers are out there dealing with the community or dealing with the media, that it's one unified message.
Well, I want to know, what is the messaging, right? You're asking us to approve a position. I want to know what the messaging is, because if the messaging is contrary to what I think the messaging should be, then I want to know that. So have you given some insight on that?
Okay. I would say the chief's message, our department's messaging, has been all along that we do not support or get involved with any ICE activity in the city of Los Angeles. I think we've made it very clear over the years with Special Order 40 that we do not look at immigration status during the course and scope of our duties, but that for public safety, we are called to scenes to provide assistance to protect our community members.
But yet, a few days ago, he said he wouldn't enforce the mask ban, right? Okay. And do we know how much are you asking from this council to approve? What is it going to cost? Salary, benefits, overhead? What's the price?
It's the Police Administrator 2 position, class code 9196-2. I don't have the exact amount at this time, but I can follow up with you if you'd like.
So it could be $1 million, and we don't know?
The Police Administrator 2, you're asking about the salary and benefits?
Yeah, this position, how much is it going to be? Salary, benefits, overhead?
Correct. I don't have that exact information at this time.
Okay.
My apologies.
Do you have someone lined up for this position that you're thinking about hiring?
We do.
Do you know who that person is?
We currently have someone that we're vetting through our department at this time.
What's their name?
I'll provide that to you at a later time once I verify with the chief.
Okay. So we don't know the salary, we don't know the messaging, and you're not willing to share the person. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto Martinez. Councilmember Rodriguez.
If I could, sorry, Council Member, I did get an update. The Police Administrator's salary range, step 2, is $191.
I want to thank you, Mr. Soto Martinez, for engaging in this conversation. And I just wanted to bring rise to some of the conflicted messaging that has thus far been occurring, particularly with respect to the chief discussing whether or not a misdemeanor would be enforced and what the litmus test is or what is deemed as good or bad policy. it was really problematic at the press conference when I even heard about it and was asked on a live interview. And I raised the concerns about, are we setting ourselves up, or is the chief setting us up for this dynamic where he just independently opines whether or not a policy is good or not, whether or not it's enforceable or not, or whether or not it would be enforced by the department. I think it's causing greater consternation among members of our public and our community that are being affected. And so you talk about that this is a position that you've already identified a candidate for, that you're already in the process of hiring, and so it's kind of like a back-ended way, but that information isn't forthcoming to us. Feels a little cart before the horse. And as someone who wants to continue and has been very supportive of this department, it's frustrating when we get this kind of gaming procedurally. And I really think it's important. There's quite a bit of items that have not come to this council for proper conversation. And again, and this is not directed at you, when the chief has been here, there's been a very defensive response to very simple questions around accountability that would be asked of any other department, particularly at a time when we are facing we're amidst such fiscal crisis. And so I just want to communicate for the public and for the department to hear that the questions that this council asks shouldn't be met with this reactive, defensive response. It should be it should be forthcoming. If we got nothing to hide, then we shouldn't act like there's anything to hide. And so I want that message to be conveyed back to the chief. I welcome his return to this council so that we can have the proper conversation. That's a sign of mutual respect, not adversarial. It's not about whether or not anyone feels appreciated or not. Every city employee, for the work that they do in service to this public and in service to the people of Los Angeles, is deeply appreciated. But we are also the fiscal stewards, and we are also the policymakers, not of the department's policies, but when the state or anyone advances a change of law, we expect everyone to honor it. And so I think it's really problematic when I've even made inquiries around the redistribution of staff and allocation of staff and maximizing the deployment. We're talking about adding another civilian position, right?
Correct.
Okay. We're talking about adding another civilian position at a time when civilians are being furloughed, that civilian positions that are an important part of doing the work of helping to support investigative work and everything that supports the role of sworn personnel, that we're talking about a very high salaried civilian position to do more public relations, communication strategy, and the like. I would customarily be supportive. I'm having trouble with this one, just based on procedurally how we've gotten here, but just some of the other occurrences and commentary, but also because we're at a point right now, we're in this budget. What's threatened is a lot of other civilian positions. So how do we prioritize which one is more important than the other? When I think about all the civilian roles that this department is currently, they're under duress to retain because of budgetary constraints, this one's a little tough. This one's tough. And so, I welcome the chief coming back and us having a deeper dive, and perhaps it's just another conversation that he and I need to have to make sure that we're prioritizing all the right pieces for the purposes of ensuring that all of our constituents are getting the services that they deserve. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member, and I hear you loud and clear. I will report this back directly to Chief McDonald when I get back to the office. And I can share with you that as the Chief over Human Resources Bureau, there's nothing more important to this department, to our chief, than our professional civilian staff. And through the last several city council meetings, there's been a lot of discussion about what this department is trying to do to maintain and keep all of our professional civilian staff. So I just want to reiterate, I know everyone knows, I just want to reiterate that there's nothing more important, because as we potentially may have to look at vacant positions, we do not want to backfill with our sworn. And I'm here to say that I will share everything you're speaking directly with the chief, and we will do the best we can to ensure that every single position that we have, we're able to keep through this fiscal year and next. But thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rodriguez. Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to echo the sentiment of Councilmember Soto Martinez and Councilwoman Rodriguez just about the disappointing comments by the chief on the state bill around masks. It really felt like, for me in that moment, where he should have stood up for the city of Los Angeles, and he just said he wasn't going to enforce a law that was passed at the state legislature. And I find that very problematic, especially in this moment where we need to be standing 10 toes down for our city. So I just want to share the concerns and feeling about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Councilmember Jurado.
I just have a quick question.
Yes,
How many
ma'am.
communications people, I think Councilmember Soto Martinez mentioned this a couple weeks ago. How many people are in your communications department right now?
In our public information office, our PIO office,
Yes.
I believe we have 20 or 25 people assigned to that operation.
And I think during, under city rules, especially for civil service departments, I believe there's a policy that civil servants can promote from within for promotional positions. Is that not something that the department could do in order to prudently use its current resources in order to structure it so that we don't have to expend more money?
I would have to verify that civil service role. I do know that we do have a vacant PIO position, which is the person who normally is, in front of the media. We have a sworn person doing that role right now. The ask from our chief is to authorize our department to add a police administrator 2 position, which will be a little bit different than what our PIO director does.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding that your PIO position is vacant, and that's your press secretary of sorts in terms of like external communications. You're looking for a director, but I'm just wondering, of those 20 positions that are filled, is there any position that, as we consider everywhere here in the city and in the decisions we're making is doing the best that we can with what we have. And I'm just wondering if that's a possibility for you all to consider, since there's 20 communication staff, to try to do the best that you can with what you have. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. The majority of that staff is sworn. So we don't have civilian authorities or positions in the PIO office to utilize for this position.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes, thank you so much, Council President. I just had a burning desire to say a few words. First of all, thank you for coming here, and thank you for doing your job. Not to the messenger, right? Whatever what they're saying is, don't kill the messenger, right? But I just have to say for my colleagues and for the public and for the department, right? It is true that the messaging has been consistent, and the messaging from LAPD and the cities is we don't engage in immigration enforcement, and that's probably we can debate whether that's factual or not, but that's not what the public wants to hear right now. When we talk about what Los Angelinos are asking us for, they're asking for every leader in this city to say we are against excessive use of force, we are against racial profiling, we are against warrantless arrests and search and seizures. We want to fight back against this fascist, white nationalist federal government. That's the messaging I want to see. And I want to hear people say, you know what, we responded incorrectly to people's First Amendment right to protest, and we shouldn't have fired over 1,000 skip rounds and foam projectiles. That's what the public wants to hear. The public wants to see the city be leaders in this moment. And so the messaging, I don't agree with the messaging that is coming out right now from LAPD. And I will not be supporting this because I want to hear the department say, our messaging has been has been lacking and has not met the moment, and we're hiring this person because we want to do better with the public. I'm not hearing that. And so I know these conversations are not going to end anytime soon. The raids will continue. And moreover, I would say that we just need like a total rearrangement of how we do things. Look, I'll share with you, I'll share with my colleagues and the public and you. I had a raid in my, raids have been happening in my district. And 2 weeks ago, it was a Sunday morning, 9 a.m., ready to read the LA Times, and I get buzzed that people are in Echo Park. And guess what? I show up there, and it was the community that was talking to people, to their family members. It was the community going around telling street vendors that ICE was in the area. The community was out there passing leaflets. And you know who I didn't see? LAPD. I didn't see the city. I didn't see anyone doing this work. And so it's not just that our messaging is wrong, it's that our actions are completely misguided right now. And so, again, we'll continue to have these discussions, but I'm going to be voting no today. But we really got to, as a council, we really got to just check where we are right now. And I've told people from this moment that I'm going to take every single opportunity to remind everybody, my colleagues and the public, that in this moment, we don't give an inch. We don't give an inch to this fascist government. And to me right now, approving this is giving an inch because I do not agree with the messaging coming out of LAPD. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soto Martinez, and thank you for coming and answering our questions. And I know this was not, the content that's being raised today was not necessarily the directly associated with the item, which I will be supporting, but I want to join my colleagues in communicating how disturbing it was to hear that specific message, that something like, well, it isn't a smart law and I don't like it, so we're not doing it. That just was way beyond the pale. And I haven't talked to the chief directly. I'll have that conversation with him. But I want to join the council members from this desk in telling you that that was just wholly unacceptable. The other thing I'll point out to members is I had occasion to listen to 911 calls, and people are calling and saying, I have a van with covered license plates rolling up to my business. I don't know whether to let them in or not. I don't know if they're ICE or not. And the person on the phone saying, well, you know, the police, we're not going to send the police to help you. Like, it's absolutely heartbreaking. So, and infuriating, frankly, that we set up a police department, we give a number for people to call for help, and then they call for help, and they're basically told, call somewhere else because we're not going to help you. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I know this specific job isn't going to make it go one way or the other, but I think it's important that the department hear from this council regarding these matters. And so if there are no other speakers, we'll open the roll on this item, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 5 noes.
This item is adopted.
Thank you, Council President and colleagues. It was exactly 2 months ago that we considered and sent this item back to the Budget Committee for further analysis. And I want to take a moment and thank the work of the CAO's team in going back and taking a different look at this, and Councilwoman Yaroslavsky for your collaboration, your partnership, and your leadership to help us arrive at a moment where we can finally begin to remove the barriers that are causing so many people the inability to begin the process of rebuilding and returning home. Councilwoman Rodriguez, thank you for the amendment. I would like to offer a friendly amendment to yours, and that is to exempt condos and townhomes from your amendment. All right. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no other speakers on this item, let's open the roll. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Park, for your collaboration. I mean, I've, serving on ad hoc committee with you on this item and having engaged with many of your constituents regularly, I offered this amendment, as you all know, I've talked to a few of you, just to ensure that we're putting the proper guardrails on taxpayer funds when it comes to this item. And so this is just to correctly frame it This is not a fee waiver, it's a fee subsidy of what we're providing in helping to aid the recovery of this area. And so, my amendment is simply to ensure that we're trying to ensure that people would be required to reimburse the city and the taxpayers for this subsidy should the owner sell the property before the certificate of occupancy is issued. So it's a very simple guardrail that we're putting on this, and so happy to support the friendly associated with this, because we understand definitely how different it is when it comes to issues related to HOAs and whatnot. So thank you, and I ask you for your aye vote on my amendment.
All right, so we'll open the roll on this item as amended. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
All right, what's next?
Pardon me, Mr.